Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Creative Craving, and here we have the chess app we've been working on. The last thing we looked at was the move list that we added. We need to combine these somehow, and we need to, it needs to work better. It needs to look cooler. It needs to take up a little less space, probably. We just need to make the move list look a little better. So first things first, we're going to add a utility function. I really don't know where to stick it. I have a few of them in types that are kind of related to types, but in this case, I guess I'm just going to make a new... Oh, wow, why do we have types underneath the components? That's so strange. I guess I'll just make a util folder and then slowly fill it up with stuff. May as well call it uncategorized, but anyway, here it is. New file, misc. Oops. Okay, and then we're going to add a zip function. Export const zip equal... Oh, wait, hang on. We have multiple lists. Lists. Okay, what type do we want to have? We're going to stick with arrays for now. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to have... we're going to have a T double array. Okay. Equals lists. Like this. What's wrong with this function? Do I need to put that in the type? There, that helps. And the error is void is not assignable. Oh, okay. Got it. Return an empty one. Perfect. Now the whole point of this, of course, is to combine values from different lists, like to combine them together. The first element from every list comes back first, and then the second element from every list, etc. But we don't want to return a list. We want to return as generator. Change the function type to return a generator instead, or generic. Hang on. Let's do some research first before we shoot ourselves in the foot. You shouldn't ask AI to do something and give it a choice between two options, because it's not going to choose the best option. It's just going to choose the one. It's not going to compare the two options and decide which one's better. It's just going to take the first one that works, or the first one it notices that has a solution of any kind. Okay, in JavaScript, is there a concept of an iterable or generator function? I think I know the answer to this. I just want to, yeah, I think there are generators. They have like a star symbol or something. Gee, maybe it would have been faster to do a web search. Okay, great. Symbol to iterator, generator functions, cool. Okay, great. Okay, in TypeScript, show me an example generator function and its type signature, and an example iterator const value and its type sig. Okay. Okay. We'll just have to read it like it as is. Generator, number, void, void. Okay, I don't know what the two other things mean. Oh, here we go. I think I'll just use number, void, void. I remember there were special things there that... Okay, now let's look at iterators. Iterator, there we go. Number, void, unknown. Okay. Generator yield, return next. Yields yield, returns return, accepts input via next. Okay. I think next should be void. Return, I guess, means what it returns after it's done looping through everything. I honestly don't understand the value of that, because you could just anyway, whatever. Right. Zip star. Wait. Okay. How would I define? Let's take number generator and define it a const keyword. Oops. Instead of function. Let's see if it figures out what I mean. Oh, arrow functions can't be generators. Okay. That's useful to know. Okay, great. We're going to call this, we want a list of iterators. And let's look again at that. Iterator, iterable iterator, both iterable and iterator. Okay. Well, now I have to explore that. But first, let's just take and let's just give a value here. Iterable. No. Iterator. We're just going to go with this for now. T. Void void. We're going to ignore that problem. Returns. Generator T. Can I just leave the others off? It's probably the clearest and best semantic to use. And we need to make it we can't make it an arrow function anymore. Function star. So we gotta get rid of that. This is getting shaky. There we go. Now we can see things. Man, it is so hard to read AI code. It's so much better to read human written code because it starts to be coherent and tell a story. Whereas this is just kind of separated. Okay, now. What's the difference between iterable and iterator in JS? Okay, that isn't very helpful. None of that's very helpful to me. Oh, an iterator has a next method that returns a value. An iterable has a symbol.iterator that returns an iterator. So basically, it's an iterator. Okay. Right, so I just want an iterator. I don't care about iterables. Okay. See, I think they have this backwards. Iterables are often iterators. I think they said it the wrong way. It technically would be true, like if it's true in one direction, it's true in the other. I just think the way they say it emphasizes the wrong thing. Iterator factories are often iterators. I don't know, whatever. Most iterators also implement iterable to support for of. Okay, this is really unclear. Okay. Okay. Yeah, they're clarifying the wrong way. They're giving definitions of what it looks like, and like that doesn't help me. How do I use it is what I want to know. Arrays are iterables. Okay. Okay, great. So I really want an iterable. Yes, I want an iterable because I want to call for of. Okay, so show me that generic type of an, say I want a function which receives any iterable over values of t, type t. How do I save this in my function arg? 7% of what? 7% of context used? I don't know what that even means. Is it how much is actually useful? Or is it how much I'm allowed to use? Am I using 7% of the maximum? Or is it saying that only 7% of what I'm providing is useful? Okay. Iterable. Okay, we don't want an iterator. We want iterable. Okay. I don't care if it, yeah, I don't care if the next thing exists. Okay. Great. Instead of calling this list, let's call it sources. It didn't update both places. What a shame. Shame. Okay. Okay. Show me a very small example of a function, generator function. Okay, it typed it twice. I don't really get that. Yield. Okay. Great. Now, one of the defining features of zip is it stops producing values when any one of the source iterables no longer has a value. Okay. So, okay. I have an iterable t in TypeScript. How do I have two variables, a and b, both of type iterable t in TypeScript. How do I grab each of them at the same time? Hopefully it figures it out. I don't want to spend a lot of time figuring this out for something I'm not going to use that often. This, by the way, is to help me. I haven't told you guys yet. This, by the way, is to help me get these set up. We talked about last time. Turn 1 for black, or turn 1 for white, is separate from turn 1 for black, and that's problematic. We need it to be the same. Also, I might have to break the rules on zip and have it to where it produces a fake value if one of the sources is shorter, because I realized I want to be able to show a value there, even if the white has taken its turn, but black hasn't taken its turn. Okay. Is that even working? Okay, well, it's doing a thing now. You don't need context. Undo. That's not even at all remotely what I asked. Start a new session. Undo. Go out of agent mode. And get rid of context. There. Behave. 3% of context. That must mean how much I'm using of what I'm allotted. Okay, convert to array. Iterate directly. Okay. Okay. I need to grab one value at a time. So the holistic approach, number 1, is out. Also, I need to iterate over both iterables simultaneously. So 2 is out. I have no idea what you mean. What you mean with number 4. Actually, let's just leave that off. Here. Yes, there we go. Okay, great. Let's have... Let's have an options parameter, which is optional. Nope. Let's call it zipops. Type export. Very important. Anytime you make a type that you're going to use for a publicly exposed function or something that's going to be used outside your module, you should expose the types of all the stuff involved in that. Not only is it great documentation, it just helps your user. If they want to, if they want to do type checking against stuff before they send it to you, just let them do that. Export type zipops equals, I'll give you an example. Ragged list behavior, ragged end behavior. Hopefully this will be clear. Stop early, or use default for missing values. That's not super clear. I don't know how to say this more clear without mentioning the word list explicitly, and I'm trying to avoid that. I also don't want to use the word iterable. Stop when first source runs dry. Yeah. Ragged source behavior. Ragged list behavior would... Okay, I think the problem is ragged list behavior is that's a thing. Like how you handle ragged lists. Like when you have two parallel arrays or two parallel lists and one of them is shorter than the other, it's a ragged list, a ragged array. It makes more sense in the context of two-dimensional stuff, like where you have multiple arrays that you're referencing and they can be of different lengths. I'm thinking, well, I mean, that kind of sort of fits in with this. Anyway, there's going to be an optional parameter. Okay. And then we're going to have default value. And it's going to be T. Okay. Here we go. And we always put a comma at the end of our types. It's not really required, but I like it that way. I'm not going to try to think this through anymore. Yeah, for example, here's a great example of why we should export types. Even though I don't necessarily need the user to use this. Maybe the user wants to type check and make sure, like maybe they want to pull this from another source and make sure it matches. Like they want to make sure it type checks, right? They have their literals set up. Like maybe in some cases they do this one, in other cases they do that one. They want to type check. So they may have a constant in their code where they say, const my ragged in behavior equals conditional, right? And sometimes they do stop when da da da, and you can see I'm having trouble here, right? I could just do zip ops. We could really do zip ops never, and then ragged in behavior, right? And now at this point, all of a sudden, look, it type checks for me, and I can make sure I only use the right ones, right? If I misspell this or add in my own one, custom, it's going to give me an error message, right? And this is something that your client code can use. Like people who use your API can do this stuff as long as you export the type. There's no reason to hide your types either, because the documentation is going to show it, and so your users are going to have access to it. They can look at the file in their file system. Just export the type. So you should always export types whenever you are creating a library. Okay. That is, the types that are being used the types that are being used in your API. If you have some internal type that you're never exposing to the user, they never see that type or anything structured like that type, do what you want. Your user isn't going to care. But if they're exposed to that type, let them manipulate it. Anyway, okay, so we have our sources and we're going to iterate over all of them. Okay. While, okay, we want to talk about, we got to think about ragged behavior. No, the first loop is just going to deal with, yeah, we're going to assume that we're going to stop when the first source runs dry in the first loop. Okay? Now let me show you what that's like. Sources dot every, well, every source, no. Okay, dot sum dot none. Whatever. Sources dot every s not s dot done. Is that a real thing? Oh, we have to create the iterators. Okay, hang on. Got it. Okay, so const iterators equals sources.map s symbol.iterator. Also, I think this weird thing about having these special things is like super weird. I think it should just be called iterator. Element implicitly has an any type because expression of type unique symbol can't be used to index zip ops. Hang on, what? I get that. Okay, options are going to be required now. Does that fix the issue? Oh, I get the issue. I understand. Hang on, let's make it required for now. I want to make it simple for myself, and we'll make it not required later. Iterators. Okay. Equals that. And then let's make it optional. Okay, I think that works. I think that works fine for me. But I'd rather have it be undefined. Hopefully this works the way I expect. Ops, if it's not defined, equals this. The default. Ragged in behavior is going to be stop when first source runs dry. Default value doesn't really matter. Undefined. Yeah, we don't need a default value there then. Maybe we shouldn't call it default value, but anyway, maybe it should be something else. Okay, now we're not going to go over sources. We're going to go over iterators. Okay. Oh, the result. Okay, wow. Wow. Okay. It looks like we don't even... What? Okay. Okay. Let results equals iterators. Wait, yeah. Dot map s for each one. S dot next. Let's change that to I, so I don't get too confused. Again, change it to I. I actually want to change that to R. Okay. While not done. Okay. So this result is like a result container thing. Not liking this. Sources.map, s.symbol, iterate, whatever. We're not going to worry about that. Okay. I would love for it to type check, but in reality, it doesn't matter that much. Const Let's call it batch instead of results. Maybe generation. Okay. Const results equals an array. Honestly, I like let better, even though, yeah, whatever. Oh wait. Return batch dot value dot map batch to batch dot value. Here we go. Because we're not done, we can do that. Now, once we get, oh, no, and we want to yield. Now then, for each, okay, so here's what we're doing. We're taking our iterables. And we're creating iterators from them. Then, we're taking those iterators and grabbing the first value from each, grabbing the next available value from each, okay? Then for each one of those values, I probably should, yeah. Now for each one of those values, we're checking, is there actually a value or is this iterable dry? Has it run empty? If all of them are non-empty, if all of them have an actual value, then we return those values all batched together. So let's change this iterable next result. Gotta call it something. Okay. So if there is a next result for every one of them, we return it. Now, if some of them are done, we want to filter them, and that's going to be a little more difficult. So then, at this point we've yielded, right? Now, if ops.raggedInBehavior equals use default for missing values, which is what we're actually going to do in this case, then we have some extra behavior. Oh, actually, let's do this. If it doesn't equal that, return, right? We're done at this point. Okay, so while next result dot any dot sum, hang on, while some of them are not done. Now, keep in mind, we just fell out of this loop because at least some of them were unfinished. Now, we're going to go into this loop if at least some of them are unfinished. So here, we drop out as soon as any of them empties, any of them dries up. Here, we drop out when all of them dry up, when all of them are done. So, okay. Now, at this point, it's going to be a little bit sketchy because what I need to do is I need to filter out the dry ones, the dry results. No, I don't need to do that. Okay, so yield, maybe a little bit tricky. Next result dot map R. Honestly, I should call this R. I know, I keep changing the name. I want to get something maintainable though, something I can look at tomorrow and remember what it means. Okay, I probably, no, this is, okay, yeah. Now then. Actually, I don't need this. I don't need the that wrapper. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Yeah. R dot done. If R is done, then we return ops dot default value. We don't care what it is. If it's not done, we return R dot value. There we go. That gets it all done. And honestly, that's so short that doing it in one line makes a lot of sense. There we go. And that's how we're going to do it. Okay, now, while there are any of them that have some results, we yield more. Now, normally zip won't do this, right? This is weird behavior. Normally, this first function will be all that happens with a zip. But in this case, for this specific application, we need specifically the thing. Honestly, I'm considering getting rid of the t variable. Well, the only thing that really ties us to t is the default value, which we have to have some kind of default value. I mean, yeah. Let's look at the error message. Type blah is not assignable to type blah. Call signature return types, okay. T or undefined, and generative T any are incompatible. T or undefined, list, void any. Okay, I think the problem here is the default value can be undefined. Well, okay, let's do this. If ops.default value is undefined, do I want to throw? No, I'm just going to give an error. Console.error zip error stopping early because default value is undefined. Okay, does that get rid of my error? No, because it's not smart enough to figure that out. Const default t equals undefined. Oh yeah, we'll just call it underscore default. And we can't refer to type t here. Yep. Okay, can't refer to it in the function body. It's gone by now, even though it's in the signature. All right, it's undefined. Oh, wait, what? What happened? Ops.default value. Did my brain go to sleep? Now at this point, it's t or undefined. Okay, let's try type of and see if that fixes it. Hopefully that fixes it. T or what and what? We're just going to say as any. We don't need to get super complicated here. Oh yeah, that doesn't have any effect on that. Default. It's going to say any. Okay, let's get rid of t. Yep. T equals any. I know, it's bad. But that's what we're going to do. Actually, to be quite frank with you, any is the only value that works here. Yeah. Because of this problem. Here we go. Basically, it's just a burden of the caller to figure this out for themselves. I can't sort through all that now, and I don't really want to get out of scope for it. So, I mean, if I didn't have a default value, I could make it work. Or, if I could specify, or if the default value were required as part of the ops, but I don't want to do that. When you specify stop when first source runs dry, oh, I got an idea. Okay, this is tricky. I haven't done this in a while, but we're going to do it. Ragged behavior is required. Or, okay, find that. Okay, now default value is going to be required. Okay. Ops is not required, though. Okay, we're not going to specify default value. It's not even allowed in that case. Okay, this should work better. Okay, let's put the T back in, see what happens. Let's get rid of the as T thing. I don't think we even need the default constant anymore. Let's just say, well, we don't want to default for that. Let's see if we saved it. This, I don't know. This is fun. Okay, so it looks like the generator type is T void any and T any. Call signature return type T void any and generator T any. Okay. Oh, right. It's a T array. See, I had a problem there in the types anyway. It's a good thing I spent time sorting it out instead of just putting any there. I mean, list of any is findable, right? Like if I pay real close attention, I'll be like, oh yeah, it's a list of any. It's not just an any. It's a list of any. But that would have confused me when trying to use it, that's for sure. Okay, great, now it works. So what I did was, basically, if you specify use default, then you have to specify default. That's required. And if you look at zipped ops, you can see, well, like if you look at ops.raggedBehavior, you can see it distills down to the same as what I had before. Stop when first source runs dry, or use default for missing values, right? So that particular value, the type doesn't change. For this one, though, the type does change. And we can get rid of this because it's not possible anymore. It has to be type checked by the client code. And if the client code uses any to try to override my typing, that's on them. I don't care. If someone wants to abuse TypeScript to get back to JavaScript land, then that's their problem. Okay, I'm treating this as if I were writing for an external client, but I'm actually going to be the only one using this code. Don't think about it too much. It'd make me sad. Okay, so now we have our zip function, which we are going to use. And I'm going to put it in the bottom just because, just so when I go to use it, you guys kind of get an idea for what's going on here. I think zip ops, I don't think I need that. Let's just put this here where you can kind of see the type signature as we're looking at other things. Okay, so let's close everything. Oh wow, that was okay. Who could have predicted that? I forget what it's called, but I see it right here. Move logs. Okay, let's move this back at the bottom. And fastidiously move it again. Let's be meticulous. Okay, so here we have our movements for each collar, and we're slicing it and reversing it. Okay, here's what I want to do instead. Yep. Interesting. We're only interested in the movements, actually, so I should do this before getting to that debug statement. Collars. Okay, we're using it there. We're going to use it here, too. Const movements per player. Movement log entry list. A list of movement log entries. Okay. I really should get the word log out of there somehow, but I don't know what else to call it. Okay, so we're movement token, movement idea, movement concept, movement expression. What do I call that? Movement item. I don't know. Movement item's as good as any. Okay, so equals collars.map collar to game C dot movements. There we go. It's missing the following properties. Oh, for one thing, it's a list. Can I? Well, I know one way to do it. This maybe isn't the best way to do it, but what we can do is make separate yeah, C. There we go. Is that gonna work? I guess that works. Okay, it seemed to take. Okay, that's a bit obscure though. Man, I'm writing really generic code that I'm not sure. I'm not confident I'll be able to understand it in a few moments. Okay, and it insists on formatting in a very specific way, which I don't like. It's putting this all on the same level. Okay, whatever. Can we do this? Okay, well that's better at least. Okay, I can understand wanting that actually to be on that level. Let's do it that way. There we go. Makes a ton of sense. Okay, great. What we're doing is for every collar, white and black, we're creating an object, white colon white's movements, black colon black's movements, and we're combining them together into a single object and calling it movements. It's a bit subtle, but you know, it's expressive, I guess. Of course, lots of copying, lots of assignments, whatever. This is JavaScript. This isn't Rust. Okay, so then we can just say, instead of this, we can just put movements. There we go. Now then, here's what I want to do. Movements dot slice dot reverse. Unfortunately, we have to slice it first because reverse happens in place. I guess there's a good argument for reversing in place because it's going to be less performance sensitive to do it in place. And if you want a new copy, you can always slice it. So like, yeah, but I mean, there's so many other things that always return a new array, returns a copy of a section of array. You know, so many other array methods just return a copy, and reverse just feels like it should be one of them because it's operating over the list holistically. It's operating over the array holistically rather than just one element. You know, like push, okay, shift, unshift, that all makes sense to like modify the array. But reverse is operating over the whole thing. So like, yeah, performance-wise, it makes sense to do it in place. But semantic-wise, it's kind of a bit weird. But I digress. Anyway, okay, so. Right, so at this point, we don't need to put this in here anymore. Let's delete that. And we don't need to do that anymore. But we can't just map. Oh wait, we gotta do this back. We need this differently now. Right, I don't want to, well, I could still map over color. Yeah, I could. Okay. But we need to do it, no, we need to do the whole thing differently. I want to have this here. In fact, I'm just going to make a separate return statement. As you'll see, I am going to copy stuff out of there, but I just want to have the existing one intact, unbroken, for the most part. In fact, actually, is it C? Collar. I want to put it back the way it was, just so I have an example there of what to do. This is going to be exactly the same. Copy paste is pretty cheap in terms of effort. This is weird. Oh, why did it? That's so confusing. Okay. Okay. Now, we want to map over. We want to zip everything together, actually. This is what we want to do. Okay. Let's think about it. Oh, we're going to make an, We're going to do this a dumb way. We're just going to use zip as is, and then we're going to make a change to zip to make it even better. So what we're going to do is we're going to have we're going to call it combined movements. Const combined movements equals movements, no, zip movements dot white movements dot black. Now, is it going to complain about the type of the first one not being an ops? Okay, yeah, so if I don't supply that, I have to supply undefined. Interesting. Okay, well that's... I'm not gonna lie, that's a sucky trade-off to have it like that, but that's what it is. Okay. But I'm not gonna do that. I want to have ragged in behavior is going to be use default for missing values, and then the default value is going to be hi. That's not going to type check, but that's going to be fine. Let's see, type movement log entry list. As movement log entry. I'm just going to lie. But what's going on here? Let's do as any. Now then, this should work. Okay, we converted everything to any. That's going to be interesting. Okay. Excuse me. You know, really, generator, let's do this. Generator over movement log entry or undefined. Yes, and we're going to define the default as, we're just going to say at or string actually. And get rid of the any here, see if that fixes the problem. You know what? I actually want to do something different. I'm going to comment this out. And then comment that out, actually. I need to simplify the types here. Stop when first, yeah, let's simplify the types here. And then simplify, because I have a feeling I did something wrong here. Okay, it's not assignable to type this. Yeah, that's a problem. That's a movement log entry. Okay, it's not a generator of movement log entries. Yeah. Okay. Get rid of the tabs. Why does it have all these? I hate that. That's annoying. Okay, so in JavaScript, how do I convert an array to an iterable? Don't give me that garbage about it already being an iterable. Okay. As iterable, well, okay, that'll be interesting. Okay, that type checks. That's good. Movement log entry list is missing the following properties from type movement log entry: piece from position to position. So obviously, it's creating a generator of lists of movement log entry. Wait a minute. Oh, I just realized something. I was confused. It is supposed to be a list. Okay. I think we're going to make a separate zip version. Yeah. Okay, we'll see. Right. We're going to make a zip width version and probably going to use that. But we'll have this as a, yeah. Okay. Okay. Now, here we are. I'm not going to worry about a default value right now. We're just going to be chilling. Okay. We're just going to be chilling. We're not going to worry about that right now. Right, we're going to get this to work without that because I realize the type's already complicated. Okay, combine movements. Right. Uh-huh. Right, we're not doing that one. We're going to do it differently. Okay, so combine movements dot map cm. Actually, we don't need to do that. Put in parens though. Now then, we need to copy this over. We're not going to put the collar there, however. Honestly, the index will be fine. Time key, we're going to call it. Yeah. We're going to get rid of that, and that's the only part of it that is, whoopsie daisy. It's the only part that was dynamic, so let's get rid of all that. Oh, I hate when it adds extra quotes there. There was already a perfectly good quote over here, thank you very much. Okay, very simplistic parsing there. Now why in the world is that messing up now? Because there's no indiv, that's why. Okay, now then. We're going to put our OL inside of that. Okay, it would help if we get the typing right, the spacing right. Now then, we're going to take cm dot map, and this time, we don't have the collar. Yeah, okay. We're going to call it E and time key 2. I'm not even going to think about names right now. Okay. Same problem here, actually. I don't know why those parens are giving me issues, but hey. Lie. Key equals time key 2. And then we're just going to copy paste this stuff. Except that's not right because we need to make this, yeah. It's going to be a flex row. Okay, and then we're going to say 1/2 is not accurate. Item stretch, I think we still want. We want to have W full. This is no longer a flex row, actually. We can probably get rid of this completely. We'll think about that later. We'll think about flexing later, okay? Now this is going to be a flex row. Okay, then we're going to have 2 divs here. This is going to have 2 values in it. E0 and E1. Okay. This is getting a bit complicated. Are we going to map a 3rd time? I think we are. Hang on. I think we did this wrong. Yeah. Okay. Well, time's almost up for me. What I should be doing here... Oh, geez. Are we just going to start over? I think we are. What I should be doing is not mapping... I should be... my first mapping should be inside the OL, I think. So we're just going to start with the OL and not worry about everything around it. Hopefully we can do this quicker this time. We had a rough pass. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Okay, so. Inside of our OL, CM time key. There we go. And then we're going to have our lie here. Key equals time key. Class name equals, this is still going to be flex. Flex call row. I maybe should put this inside of a, actually, flex row. Yeah, I might make this flex call reverse. Oh, it already is. Okay. Our lie, maybe I should put our flex inside of a div inside the lie, but for now I'm just going to combine them. We'll find out if that's a mistake very quickly. Then cm.map e time key 2. Oops. We kind of have an idea of what's going on now. Kind of know what we're doing. So for each, now we're going to have a div per collar. Except we don't know the collar yet. It's just implicit. Key equals time key 2. We're going to fix that in a later version, which is not going to happen today. Class name equals. Okay. W1/2. Take half of it. Okay, great. And here's where we're going to put, let's get rid of this. Here's where we're going to put this stuff. Boom. Okay, so that should work. Whoopsie daisy. Now we have these issues. We're going to sneak peek of this, see how well it works. I'm sure that there's more formatting that needs to happen. Oh, look, we broke it all. Cool. Okay, let's get rid of that in progress stuff. Hopefully, okay. Using iterators as children is unsupported and will likely yield unexpected results. Okay. Enumerating a generator mutates it. You may convert it to an array. Okay. We'll do that. Right. Const combined. We're going to make this an underscore combine movements. Movements equals. Perfect. Now this is an array. Yeah. I wanted to keep this type in the mix. That's why I wanted to make a temporary variable here and then reassign it just because it's less confusing. We're doing this as a way to help React do its thing. It really has nothing to do with us. Okay, so undefined is not iterable. Okay. 640. Anyway, this kind of shows how to use. This shows kind of how to use zip. We might go into more detail later, but the whole idea is you see we're creating this list of movement log entries. I really want to show you what it looks like. Basically, we're going to take the results from the white list of movements and the black list of movements, and we're going to combine them into a combined list where the first element of the list contains, it's an array of two elements, white's first move and black's first move. That's what zip does. And it works in many other cases as well. They said line 40. What? Line 6, sorry. Line 6. Okay. Line 6. Right. What if the source is somehow undefined? I mean, I guess we'll filter those out. Filter S not equals undefined. Whoa. Okay. Man, a little bit of keyboard action can really ruin your day, can't it? Okay. Let's see if that fixes things. We still have the old errors there. Well, that's not a good sign. All right, we don't really have a lot of time left, folks, today, so I think I'm just going to sign out. But I was really hoping we could see it together before I move on. But apparently, the way I'm doing things is very performance intensive. I don't know. Snap. Okay, well, this is something I'm going to have to look at later. I don't really have a lot of insight either. Sigil. Error code Sigil. Almost looks like Sigkill. Maybe it was Sigkill, but they misspelled it? No, Sigil. Okay. I guess it wasn't a misspelling then. Invalid program image, such as invalid instruction. Okay. That's great. That's exciting. I mean, have you ever gotten a core dump in JavaScript before? How did I manage this? I think probably we just need to restart the Dino. Dino dev run. Reload one more time. Well, I'm not getting any error messages here, that's for sure. That's interesting. What if I view source? Yeah, okay. Well, what if I just use curl? Temp, make dir blah. It's probably already there. There we go, blah. Wget. Curl. I don't remember how to use curl. Let's just use wget. Okay, that looks simple enough. But dang, does it mess stuff up. Okay, well, that's it. That's it. We're going to have to come back next time. I don't have time to figure this out and show you guys. Yeah, not that you were, you know, I'm sure you guys are devastated that you don't get to see the results of this zip function. Yeah, right. You'll have to wait till next time. Sorry, guys. That's just how it is. I'll snap. Alrighty.